In my junk journals lately, I've been working a lot in stages. So I've been doing like bits and pieces of pages here and there. And so I thought I would show you in this junk journal with me how I'm working in this junk journal. So this is a standard like TN sized insert, just in case you're wondering on the size of this. And I originally bound it for my Catalysts and Curiosities prompt, which if you haven't seen, I've got a fortnightly newsletter now where I just cover different creative topics and give you some prompts to use throughout the 2 weeks. So I'll leave the link down below. But basically, when I come to work in this journal, I'm working a lot with the quotes that have been collected for that. Or the different prompts and the color schemes and things like that. So that's kind of what I'm using this journal for. And as I've been working in it, I've realized I'm almost doing a bit of creative commonplacing almost. I don't know if that's technically a thing because I feel like I'm just collecting bits of inspiration and things that I'm drawn to within this junk journal because it doesn't have like a specific purpose. Like, I'm not documenting anything, I'm not doing like, a page per prompt, like so prescriptive, like I used to do with Junk Journal January and July. It's a lot more like free form and, doing some backgrounds and letting things just be eclectic and just seeing where they take me and not completing everything all in one go. So you'll notice as I go through these pages, I'm kind of like going back and forth between what I'm working on and like not completely finishing everything. And I'm really enjoying this way of working with my junk journals. I think it's such a like low pressure way of showing up to create within this journal. So yeah, I just feel like I am creatively commonplacing almost just when it comes to how I'm approaching this journal and how I'm working in it, because rather than having a page per prompt and being so prescriptive with it in that sense, I'm definitely just being a little bit more free with how I'm creating in it and giving myself that permission to not have to create like start to finish or not having to create something perfect, like this masterpiece work of art within my journal, and the pressure to do that all in one sitting as well. Like, I'm really enjoying being able to create these pages in bits and pieces and going back and forth. So, like, for example, here, this piece of decoupage paper, this has been in my stash for I don't even want to admit how long, and I bought it because I thought that's a really nice pattern, as I'm sure you all do as well. And then I just never got round to using it, and so I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna stick it in this book. Not necessarily because I want to make like a design feature from it or like something on the page, even though it kind of does that because it is like a pattern, but I just wanted to have like a piece of that paper documented, if that makes sense. So that's why I wanted to add it. And I think it looks really nice actually on the neutral page, the way that it pops. So I've just been like approaching things differently with this journal and the way I've been working in it. So I decided to do some lettering here with a pencil. So normally I would just use my Tombow brush marker, which is one of my favourite pens to use in my journals, but I had a pencil in my hand, so I just thought, you know what happens if I use that instead? And I really liked the way it looked, and it also made it really easy to fix a mistake that I made on the text as well, so it actually turned out pretty well. And of course, I had to add some stitching to this page. I just love this for a bit of texture and some like tactile elements. And when I tell you, I was concentrating so much to make sure that I didn't stitch that envelope shut by accident, because that is something that I totally would have done if I wasn't like fully paying attention to where I was doing the stitching. And then I would have got to the pocket and thought, oh, let me make something to go inside this, and then realised that I'd stitched it shut. So, really glad that I didn't do that. And something I've been enjoying lately within my journals is actually adding these little words and phrases. So, making little poems, I guess, but not really, within my pages, just to have them in like the corners or along the edges. I just am really enjoying the process of using up a lot of the book pages that I have in my stash, which I know I'm not alone. If you're anything like me, you've probably got a lot of book pages too where you've used the cover or you've used the illustrations and you're just left with blocks of text. Like, it doesn't even matter what they're about. Like, you can always just like scan and find different words or phrases that you can use within your journals, and I just find it's a really nice way of adding text that is a little bit different, especially with the different fonts and papers that you can find. So that's just something I've been really enjoying, especially with this journal, and I feel like I'm just showing up with a lot less pressure for this journal in particular. So I think, unlike the, page per day and the pressure to create start to finish this like amazing like masterpiece work of art within my journal pages for daily prompts, like when I was doing junk journal January and July, like I'm just able to show up to this journal and be a lot more free with the things that I'm creating and just like collecting things that I like and seeing where things take me, like what I'm inspired to do. So, like, moving between these different pages and just that like slower pace of creating, which I think is in turn actually helping me to be more creative, which I know sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but I would really say like I am enjoying what I'm creating a lot more, and just having that freedom to follow something if I really want to explore it more. So I've got quite a few journals on the go at the moment, which I feel like I'm also not alone in that either. But I'm just really having fun with like going between the different projects and not being worried about like the pressure to show up and create something specific, if that makes sense. So the prompts that I'm following for the Catalyst and Curiosities, they are a lot more fluid, I think, and like broad and open in the sense that you don't need to do something specific for them. And so for the pages that I've worked on in this video, I've just done like a bit of a mix and match of different things. Like, I was doing a little bit of some backgrounds and then adding quotes, and then here I'm just repurposing some packaging that I saved because I really liked the pattern and then I never actually did anything with it. So I just thought, do you know what, let's just actually do something with this. And I decided just to use some paint here to block out some of the text while still keeping some of the illustrations still visible. And this doesn't like block it out completely, but I think it just gives a more of a neutral base. So some of the text is still peeking through, but I feel like I could easily write over this with maybe my brown fine liner and you're not really going to notice too much. And so that's a way that I'm able to use this piece that, has quite a busy background, and you might think like what to do with it. Like, I could have cut out the center bit as well now that I'm thinking about it, but I just decided to paint on it instead. That's just what I did. So I'm adding a fussy cut floral here because I thought that that might help to give it a bit of dimension, because it was feeling a little bit flat, especially because I had just decided to paint over it instead. And so I thought that this would give a bit of vibrancy, bit of contrast, and really help to lift this page. But I didn't like completely finish this page, so I will come back to it, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it, to be honest. I don't really have a plan. I think that's kind of what I'm enjoying about this journal actually, is that I just don't have a plan and I just show up with my art supplies and I just see what I want to create that day. No pressure, no plans, no worries about what I'm going to do. I'm having fun with the process, and so that's where I'm at with this journal at the minute. So I hope you've enjoyed this more relaxed junk journal with me, where I'm just sharing an honest look at how I'm creating in my junk journal pages at the moment. I'd love to know what creative projects you are working on as well, and I will leave a link down below, like I mentioned, for the Catalyst and Curiosities newsletter if that's something you're interested in, and I will see you in the next one.